far in working with signed fractions, we have written a negative sign before the fraction. Right, and this means count out 4 of the things called thirds to the left of 0. And this is the correct way to express a negative fraction, as a negative sign in front of a number that happens to be a fraction. Sometimes we see something written that looks like fraction notation that has signed numbers in the numerator and denominator. So for example, what does it mean to write negative 5 over 8, or 7 over negative 12, or negative 11 over negative 16? Well, remember we had 2 ways of understanding this fraction bar. We can also see the fraction bar as representing division. So if we think of each of these not as a single number, because this doesn't quite describe a number, but rather as a division problem, then we see negative 5 divided by positive 8. That should be a negative number, and the negative number it should be is negative 5/8. Positive 7 divided by negative 12. Again, that should be a negative number, and the number it should be is negative 7/12. And finally, negative 11 divided by negative 16. That should be a positive number, and the positive number it should be is positive 11/16. So what should we do when we see one of these fractions with signs in the numerator and denominator? We should decide whether it's positive or negative, as if it were a division problem. Sometimes we'll also have a sign written out front. A negative sign before the fraction means take the opposite as usual. So, for example, negative 3 over 5 is the opposite of negative over positive is negative, and so it's positive 3/5. Let me give you a couple of these to try. Simplify each of these by writing it as a single signed fraction. Notice that they're already in lowest terms, so you won't need to do any canceling of common factors. Just write them as a single signed fraction. Pause the video and try this now. Alright, so this negative sign out front means take the opposite. Negative 2 over positive 5. Negative divided by positive is negative. So it'll be 2/5. The opposite of negative 2/5 is positive 2/5. Negative 7 divided by negative 2 is going to be positive. So we'll get positive 7 over positive 2. 8 divided by negative 7 is going to be negative. So this is going to be negative 8/7. And that's really all there is to this.